Okay, operating systems and firewall. This presentation is provided by Akram Kader. Next slide. Operating systems, Microsoft Server 2019. So basically, this is a description of what I have. Increased security and reduces business risks with multiple layers of protection built into the operating system. Uses the Azure service, which is a cloud computing service operated by the one and only Microsoft. This operating system is generally user-friendly, hence has the most usership numbers compared to other operating systems, which I think everybody knows because pretty much every place you go to has some type of operating system. They use Microsoft. So there's probably a lot of things on it to help you, just if there's any problems. So these are some features that are for Microsoft Server 2019. System Insight. System Insight brings local predictive analytics capability to Windows Server. These predictive capabilities, each backed by a machine learning module, locally analyze Windows Server system data, such as performance counters and events, providing insight into the functioning of your server. And the next feature we're talking about is Storage Migration Service. It makes it easier to migrate storage to Windows servers to Azure. It provides a graphical tool that inventories data on Windows, Linux, NetApps, CIF servers and transfers the data to new servers or to Azure Virtual Machine. So talking about Azure is basically the cloud computer for Windows. So it's probably the most commonly used one as a server. Okay, next slide. And this is continuing off of the features. Storage Replica is a Windows Server technology that enables replications of volumes between servers or clusters for disaster recovery. It also enables you to create stretch failovers cluster that spans two sites, with all nodes staying in sync. And these supports both synchronous and asynchronous replication. So this is pretty much a cool feature in case you lose any data or what have you. Next slide. Security features. Windows implement the Windows Defender Advanced Threat Protection. Microsoft Defender ATP, which is the Advanced Threat Protection, automatically detects and remediates advanced attacks on your endpoint. It investigates the scope and potential impact of each threat, providing reports of the various threats to your organization machine, and allowing you to quickly and easily mitigate and remove the threat using advanced tools and automations. So it's pretty much a cool feature because it has each general step that you need to take for you to mitigate any type of threat that your Microsoft Server 2019 might face. Okay, next slide. Now we're talking about the Window Defender Firewall. Window Defender Firewall is used in Windows operating system. The software permits or denies programs on the computer from accessing network or internet resource. It also allows or blocks connections to and from other computers on a network. Window Defender Firewall works to protect the operating system and user data on the computer from the improper or unapproved access use should be all and possible infection. Next slide. Okay, now we'll be talking about the next operating system, Ubuntu 20. Ubuntu Server is a server operating system developed by Canonical, which is the company that made the Ubuntu server, and open source program around the world that works with nearly any hardware or virtualization platform. It can serve up website, file share, and containers, as well as expand your company offerings with incredible cloud presence. Ubuntu Server Operation System is based on the Linux language, which compared to the Windows 2019 server, which does not use Linux. Okay, next slide. Okay, now we're discussing features. The SSH two-factor authentication. Multi-factor authentication is a method of confirming your identity using at least two different ways of authentication. The most common and easiest to implement example of two-factor authentication uses a combination of passphrase, a complex password often made of several words. So usually we recommend 16 characters in this case, and use mix of numbers, words, and a one-time passcode generated by a special mobile app. SSH authentication using an OATH TOTP app in addition to an SSH key. Logging into your server via SSH will require two-factor across two channels, thereby making it more secure than a password or SSH key alone. Also, we will go over. I don't need that. All right, next slide. So this is continuing off with the features. Another feature we have here is WireGuard VPN. This tremendously increases the security and gives you a big advantage when it comes to performance. And also Ubuntu Server Live Installer helps you update itself when you have it turned off, which is pretty cool. You don't have to constantly install any updates that you might need for your Ubuntu server. Alright, next slide. And this is the IP tables. So IP tables is pretty much the firewall for Ubuntu. It encrypts data communication for Linux server. IP table is a firewall installed by default on all official Ubuntu distributions, the Ubuntu, Kubuntu, and Xubuntu. I'm butchering these names, but go ahead. When you install Ubuntu, IP tables is there, but it allows all traffic by default. Ubuntu comes with UFW, a program for managing the IP tables firewall easily. Manageable table is mainly used for special modification of packets. In simple terms, is used to modify the IP headers of a network packet. Modification of a packet can include changing a TTL value of a packet, changing valid network hops, for a packet, and etc. And these are basically the citations. Alright, I guess this will be the end of my presentation. Have a nice day.